Once upon a time, the sound of a school bell echoes through the small village school. A group of students working on an assignment. In the middle of the classroom sits Ibadat, 12's, a quiet boy, struggling with his math problems. His classmates exchange knowing glances, whispering to each other.
Look at him, he's always struggling.
He'll never make it to high school, let alone become a doctor like he say.
Ibadat overhears the whispers. His face tightens, but he remains silent, staring at his math book. Mrs. Rahman, 35's, a kind and wise teacher, watches Ibadat from her desk. She notices his struggles, but also sees the determination in his eyes. She quietly walks over to his desk and kneels beside him.
Ibadat, can I see your work?
Ibadat nods hesitantly, handing her the paper. Mrs. Rahman reviews it, then looks up at him with a gentle smile.
You're close, Ibadat. I can see you're trying. How about we go over this together after school? You'll get it, I'm sure of it.
Ibadat looks at her, surprised. No teacher had ever offered him extra help before.
Really? You don't mind?
Of course not. Sometimes we all just need a little more time. You've got a lot of potential, Ibadat. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Ibadat's face lights up with a glimmer of hope. He nods eagerly. The bell rings, signaling the end of the school day. Students scatter, laughing and chatting as they head home. Ibadat lingers, waiting nervously outside the school. Mrs. Rahman steps out of the building, carrying a stack of books.
Shall we begin?
Ibadat nods. They sit together on a bench under a tree, going over the math problems. Mrs. Rahman patiently explains each step, breaking it down in a way Ibadat can understand. The sun sets behind them as they work late into the afternoon. Ibadat tests paper a few weeks later. His scores are improving, slowly but surely. He isn't at the top of the class, but his progress is evident. Mrs. Rahman stands at the front of the class, handing back test results.
Good work, Ibadat. Keep it up. Remember, it's about progress, not perfection.
Ibadat smiles, clutching his paper. Some students glance at him, their previous doubts slowly fading. For the first time, Ibadat feels a sense of pride. Several years have passed. Mrs. Rahman, now a bit older, is cleaning out her desk. The walls of the school office are filled with posters and pictures of past students. A knock is heard on the door. She looks up.
Come in.
The door opens, revealing Ibadat, now 25's, wearing a doctor's coat. His face is filled with joy as he steps inside. Mrs. Rahman stands in shock.
Mrs. Rahman, it's been a long time.
Tears well up in Mrs. Rahman's eyes as she recognizes the young man standing before her.
Ibadat, you did it. You became a doctor.
Ibadat nods, holding back tears of his own.
And I couldn't have done it without you. You believed in me when no one else did. You stayed after school with me, you taught me not to give up, and because of that, I'm here today.
Mrs. Rahman walks toward him, placing a hand on his shoulder.
It was always in you, Ibadat. I just helped you see it.
Ibadat stands at the podium, addressing the students and teachers of his former school. Mrs. Rahman sits in the front row, watching proudly.
When I was your age, I didn't believe in myself. I thought my dreams were too big. I thought I wasn't good enough. But there was one person who showed me that hard work and perseverance could take me anywhere I wanted to go. That person was my teacher, Mrs. Rahman.
Mrs. Rahman, wiping a tear from her cheek as she smiles.
She taught me that success isn't about being perfect from the start. It's about getting better, one step at a time. And that's what I want to tell all of you today. No matter how hard things seem, no matter how far away your dreams feel, don't ever give up. Believe in yourself, and find those who believe in you too.
The audience erupts in applause. Ibadat steps down from the podium. He looks at Mrs. Rahman, who nods, silently acknowledging their shared journey. As the sun sets over the village, Ibadat walks through the streets, past his old school. Ibadat smiling as he looks back at the building where his journey began. He knows that no matter where life takes him, he'll always remember the teacher who changed everything.